Eddie Harris sprinted through the crowded streets of Dallas. The figure he was chasing darted into an alleyway, moving with inhuman agility. Eddie, a former USA Special Forces operative, pushed himself harder. He had to catch this assassin. The man had just killed Dr. Alexander White, a renowned scientist and his brother Samuel's mentor. This was no ordinary murder. The killer's swift, precise movements suggested something far more sinister. As he closed in, the figure leaped over a fence with ease. He followed, his military training kicking in. He could see the target's face now, and it was like nothing he had ever seen. The alien's eyes glowed faintly, and its skin had an iridescent sheen. Eddie's mind raced. This was confirmation of the rumors he had heard. Aliens were targeting key human figures. The chase ended abruptly in a secluded courtyard. The alien turned to face Eddie, a strange device in its hand. Eddie lunged, knocking the device away, and the two engaged in a brutal hand-to-hand fight. Despite the alien's strength and advanced combat skills, Eddie managed to land a disabling blow, sending the creature crashing to the ground. Before he could catch his breath, the alien muttered something in a language Eddie didn't understand and pressed a hidden button on its suit. It dissolved into a fine mist, leaving Eddie alone and bewildered. Eddie didn't waste time. He raced to his car and sped toward his brother Samuel's lab. He needed answers. Samuel, a brilliant scientist, had been working on a project that apparently made him a target. When Eddie arrived, Samuel was already packing, his face pale and eyes wide with fear. "They're here, aren't they?" Samuel asked, his voice trembling. Eddie nodded. "They've already killed Dr. White. You're on their list too." "What the hell is going on, Sam?" Samuel took a deep breath and explained. "The Galactic Council, an interstellar governing body, sees humanity as a threat. They've sent assassins to eliminate anyone who could accelerate our technological advancements. They're scared of what we might become." Eddie absorbed this information, feeling a mix of anger and determination. "We need help. We can't do this alone." Samuel nodded and handed Eddie a secure phone. "Call this number. It's a friend of Dr. White's, Colonel Jonathan West. He leads a group called the Boogeymen, Earth's secret defense against extraterrestrial threats." Eddie made the call, and within an hour, a black SUV pulled up to the lab. Colonel Jonathan West stepped out, a grizzled veteran with a stern expression. He sized up Eddie with a glance and nodded approvingly. "Eddie Harris, I presume? I've heard of your skills." "Follow me," West said, leading them to a hidden underground base. Inside, Eddie was introduced to the Boogeymen, a diverse team of elite operatives trained to combat alien threats. The base was equipped with advanced technology, some of it reverse-engineered from captured alien devices. The atmosphere was tense but focused, everyone aware of the stakes. West briefed Eddie on their current situation. "We've known about the Galactic Council's plans for a while, but they've escalated. Your brother's research must be significant. We need to protect him and find a way to counter these assassins." Eddie met the team, including Lieutenant Maria Sanchez, a brilliant strategist, and Dr. Karen Lee, a scientist working on countermeasures against alien technology. The introductions were brief. There was no time to waste. Alarms blared, signaling an imminent attack. The Boogeymen sprang into action. Eddie, despite being new to the team, quickly adapted to their protocols. They fortified the base and prepared for the onslaught. Eddie's military experience proved invaluable as he coordinated with West and the others. The alien attackers were relentless, using advanced weaponry and stealth tactics. But the Boogeymen, with their mix of human ingenuity and captured alien tech, managed to hold them off. Eddie fought alongside them, his determination fueling his every move. During the battle, he captured an alien device, which they quickly analyzed. As the dust settled, West looked at Eddie with newfound respect. "You're a natural. We could use someone like you permanently." Eddie glanced at Samuel, who was helping Dr. Lee with the captured device. "I'm in. Whatever it takes to protect Earth." Samuel approached, holding a piece of the alien tech. "This device has coordinates. It's a meeting point for the Galactic Council's operatives on Earth. We have a chance to strike back." Eddie nodded. Let's do it. Eddie and the Boogeymen prepared for their mission with a mixture of urgency and precision. The alien device they had captured provided coordinates to a remote forest in northern Europe. The team gathered in the base's briefing room, the atmosphere tense but focused. Listen up, Colonel West began. Our target is an alien rendezvous point. We need to hit them hard and fast. Our objective is to gather intelligence and disrupt their operations. Eddie, you'll be with me. Sanchez, you take point on perimeter security. Dr. Lee, you'll stay here and continue analyzing the device for any additional intel. Eddie nodded, mentally preparing himself for the mission. He had always been a lone wolf, but now he was part of a team that relied on each other's skills and trust. They boarded a stealth helicopter and flew under the radar to the designated location. As they approached, Eddie scanned the landscape below, his keen eyes searching for any sign of the enemy. The forest was dense, offering both cover and challenges. They landed a few kilometers from the coordinates and proceeded on foot. The night provided cover, but also hid potential dangers. Eddie felt a mix of anticipation and readiness. His training had prepared him for this, but the stakes were higher than ever before. After an hour of navigating through the forest, they reached a clearing. In the center, a group of aliens were gathered around a shimmering portal-like device. Eddie signaled the team to spread out and take positions. He could see their target clearly now, a high-ranking alien officer giving orders to the others. West's voice came through the earpiece. On my mark, we engage. Remember, our goal is to capture that officer if possible. We need information. Eddie steadied his rifle, his sights locked on the officer. The seconds felt like hours as he waited for West's command. Finally, the order came. Go! The clearing erupted into chaos as the Boogeymen launched their attack. Eddie's shots were precise, taking down 2 aliens before they even knew what hit them. The officer tried to flee, but Eddie and West were on him in an instant. A brief but intense struggle ended with the officer subdued and restrained. The rest of the team quickly neutralized the remaining aliens and secured the area. West approached the captive, his expression cold and determined. We have questions, and you're going to give us answers. Back at the base, the alien officer was placed in a high-security cell. Dr. Lee began her interrogation, using a combination of translation software and psychological tactics to break through the officer's defenses. Eddie watched from the observation room, his mind racing with questions. What was the Galactic Council's true agenda? How many more assassins were out there? As the interrogation progressed, they learned that the aliens were not just targeting key figures but were also scouting for weaknesses in Earth's defenses. The officer revealed that the Galactic Council had a deep fear of humanity's potential, especially with the recent technological advancements spearheaded by scientists like Samuel. Eddie felt a surge of anger and resolve. We need to take the fight to them, he said to West. We can't just keep playing defense. West nodded. Agreed. But we need more intel. We need to find out where their command center on Earth is located. Samuel entered the room, his face pale but determined. I've been working on something that might help. It's a device that can intercept their communications. If we can get it close enough to one of their bases, we might be able to find out exactly where their command center is. Eddie looked at his brother, pride and concern mingling in his heart. We'll make it work, Sam. We have to. The next mission was set. The Boogeymen would infiltrate another alien rendezvous point, plant Samuel's device, and gather the information they needed. Eddie knew it was a dangerous plan, but it was their best shot at turning the tide. The Boogeymen were gearing up for the next mission. Eddie and his team stood in the dimly lit armory, checking and double-checking their gear. The weight of their task hung heavy, but each member moved with a quiet confidence. Samuel's device, the key to intercepting alien communications, was securely packed in Eddie's kit. Colonel West reviewed the plan one last time. We're heading into a known alien outpost. We plant the device, gather intel, and get out. Swift and clean. Eddie, you and Sanchez will handle the device. The rest of us will cover the perimeter. They moved out under the cover of darkness, their steps silent on the forest floor. Eddie's senses were on high alert, every rustle and shadow scrutinized. The team's cohesion was evident. They communicated with hand signals and whispers, moving like a well-oiled machine. As they neared the outpost, the glow of alien technology became visible through the trees. The outpost was a hub of activity, with aliens moving in organized patterns. Eddie and Sanchez split off from the group, making their way to a vantage point overlooking the heart of the encampment. Sanchez whispered, "We need to find the central console. That's where the device will be most effective." Eddie scanned the area, his eyes locking onto a structure that seemed to be the command center. "There," he pointed. "Let's move." They crept closer, avoiding patrols and using the terrain to their advantage. Reaching the structure, Eddie took position while Sanchez began setting up the device. The moments stretched, each second a test of their nerves. Suddenly, an alien patrol appeared, heading straight for them. Eddie's heart raced. He motioned for Sanchez to hide, taking aim with his silenced rifle. The aliens were almost upon them when Eddie fired, dropping them silently. Sanchez exhaled in relief. "Close call. Device is almost ready." Eddie kept watch, every muscle tensed for action. The device emitted a soft hum as it activated, sending out waves that would intercept and decode alien communications. They just needed a few more minutes. The rest of the team, led by West, engaged in a diversionary skirmish on the other side of the outpost. The sound of gunfire and alien weaponry echoed through the forest. Eddie knew they didn't have much time. Finally, the device completed its setup. Sanchez gave a thumbs up, and they began their retreat. The return journey was even more treacherous, with increased alien activity in response to the diversion. Eddie and Sanchez moved quickly but cautiously, every step calculated. They rendezvoused with the rest of the team at the extraction point. West's eyes were sharp. "We got what we needed?" Eddie nodded. "Device is in place. Now we wait for the data." Back at the base, the team gathered in the command center. Dr. Lee monitored the device's transmissions, decoding the intercepted signals. The air was thick with anticipation. Eddie paced, his mind racing with possibilities. Dr. Lee's voice broke the silence. "We've got something. It's a transmission from the alien high command. Coordinates and plans for their next major operation." West leaned over the console, eyes narrowing as he took in the information. "This is big. They're planning a large-scale attack on multiple human cities. We need to act fast." Eddie felt a surge of determination. "We take the fight to them. We can't let them execute this plan." West nodded. "Agreed. But we need more than just our team. We need a coordinated effort with other units. This is war." Eddie stood at the center of the briefing room, his mind sharp as he took in the faces around him. The global defense forces had assembled their best and brightest, a mixture of military strategists and seasoned operatives. The air was charged with a sense of urgency. Colonel West began the briefing, projecting the intercepted alien coordinates onto the screen. "We've identified key targets across multiple cities. Their plan is to strike simultaneously, causing maximum disruption. Our task is to stop them before they can mobilize." Dr. Lee, who had decoded the alien transmissions, added, "Our advantage is the element of surprise. They don't know we've intercepted their communications. We need to move swiftly and strike hard." Eddie's team, the Boogeymen, were assigned the most critical target. A central hub believed to be the command center for the entire operation. The room fell silent as the magnitude of their mission sank in. West's voice cut through the silence. "You've all been briefed on your specific roles. Eddie, your team's success is crucial. Failure is not an option." Eddie met the colonel's gaze, determination in his eyes. "We won't fail, sir." The Boogeymen geared up, their movements efficient and precise. Each member knew their role and the importance of their mission. As they loaded into the transport, a quiet resolve settled over them. This was what they had trained for. The transport flew low and fast, avoiding detection as it approached the alien command hub. Eddie reviewed the plan one last time with his team. "We infiltrate, plant the explosives and get out. Samuel, you'll handle the technical aspects. Sanchez, keep an eye on our flanks. Let's move. The team disembarked, moving silently through the dense forest that surrounded the alien base. They approached the perimeter, using the cover of darkness to their advantage. The alien guards were alert, but the Boogeymen's training and discipline allowed them to bypass most without incident. Reaching the entrance, Eddie signaled for Samuel to disable the security systems. The young tech specialist worked quickly, his fingers flying over the control panel. Within moments, the doors slid open, and the team slipped inside. The interior of the base was a maze of corridors and alien technology. They navigated with precision, avoiding patrols and security cameras. Eddie's heart pounded in his chest, but his focus never wavered. They reached the central command room, where the alien commanders were orchestrating the attack. Eddie and his team moved into position, planting explosives at key points around the room. The aliens, engrossed in their plans, were oblivious to the humans' presence. Samuel connected to the mainframe, downloading critical data while simultaneously planting a virus to cripple the alien network. Almost done, he whispered, his voice steady despite the high stakes. Suddenly, an alarm blared. One of the patrols had discovered their presence. Eddie's instincts kicked in. Defensive positions! We need to hold them off until Samuel finishes. The team spread out, using the environment to their advantage. Eddie took aim, his shots precise and lethal. The alien guards responded with force, but the Boogeymen held their ground. The firefight was intense, but their training and teamwork shone through. Samuel's voice cut through the chaos. Data's secure. Virus is deployed. We need to move now. Eddie signaled for a retreat. The team fought their way back through the corridors, the sound of explosions echoing behind them as the planted charges detonated. The base was in disarray, giving them the cover they needed to escape. They burst out of the entrance and made a dash for the extraction point. The transport was already waiting, its engines humming with readiness. Eddie took a final look back at the base, now a smoldering ruin, before climbing aboard. As the transport lifted off, the team allowed themselves a moment of relief. They had succeeded in their mission, but the war was far from over. Eddie knew this was just one battle in a much larger conflict. Back at the command center, they were greeted with cheers and applause. Colonel West's face was stern, but his eyes held a glimmer of pride. Well done, Boogeymen! Your actions today have given us a fighting chance. Dr. Lee approached Eddie, her expression serious. The data Samuel retrieved is invaluable. It contains detailed plans of future attacks and locations of other alien bases. We can use this to turn the tide. Eddie nodded, a sense of accomplishment mingling with the ever-present weight of responsibility. We'll be ready for whatever comes next. As the team disbanded for some much-needed rest, Eddie lingered, looking at the maps and plans that covered the command center's walls. Each marker represented a potential threat, a challenge to overcome. The road ahead was long and fraught with danger, but he knew they would face it together.